right, I just had a lovely Jack's Pizza, and now I am feeling refreshed. So, to kind of finish this thing off, I think the easiest next place to go is the back. Any roof that you're doing, typically, as long as there's sort of a decent amount of symmetry in a house. This house is not totally symmetrical. You can see there's a bunch of little bumps and jogs and things like that. It is anything but rectangular, but it does have, this center bumped out section here in the front really does make the center fairly symmetrical. Yes, it's not centered in the overall structure, but it is there nonetheless. So that's that, and I wanted to go next and just finish up the back. And being that I created, used this front and this right side, interchangeably. Started something here, placed it here, brought it over to here, took this information, brought it back to here, brought it back down to here. It's kind of a triangle you deal with a front and it, or just any side and its adjacent side. And once you get those things hammered out, if you watched in the last one, the tail end of it was literally taking this and just mirroring it. So this was a pretty easy section to deal with. Okay. And to neaten this up a little bit, I can start to, just continue the cleanup process as you're going along. Okay. The notch is the one thing back here, this little removed corner that I said I would be leaving alone until we're all said and done. And that's no problem at all. We'll just go ahead and figure that out here in a minute. But I should be able to, if I've done everything right, like I said, since this is a pretty, I know that the overall width of the building is the same from the front to the back at its widest point. And this portion of the hip covers the building at its widest point. So hypothetically, if I come back here and I drop this, it should wind up right back here, and it does. It touches, no problem. So that's a piece of cake, okay? I don't have anything on this side. This line is a goner. We don't need that anymore. Got some random line coming out here. That's a goner. We don't need that. I think we don't need that. So you can just start trimming away, getting rid of things, neatening it up, etc. Okay. So here's where something does come into play. So what is going on here? What in the world? So now we've got to deal with this notch, which we've been dreading the entire time. Okay. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. This notch is missing. And I said, when you figure out the roof, when you initially, snap everything that you've used from taking your pitches, finding intersections, and then, using that deductive reasoning, once you get back here, this side and this side, they're the same. But you had to connect to an imaginary point out here in space. Okay. And now all I have to do is treat this portion like a gable, because in other words, this is straight up and down. There is no pitch here. So in this case, I'm going to do the same thing I did before when I going back to the gable videos, which is to create a fascia board. And we know we wouldn't have anything right there. And the next thing I would be doing is creating a bird box. Okay. So I would go ahead and do what I did in the other video. I'd offset this down 2 inches. I would offset 2 inches to the inside. And then I would extend right up to here. And I should be extending down there. Now everything that's inside of that bird box gets gutted. Everything in, oops, take that back. Everything except for there we go. That's a goner, and then that is a goner right there, and that's a goner right there. Okay. So we've gone ahead and we've defined that bird box. And let's see, does it look correct? The only thing that's incorrect right here is that I don't have a fascia board that is the edge of the roof. Okay, so that's it. The roof is sloping down towards me until it gets to this point. Okay. Um, and then I do have a small bird box here. And it will make more sense when I go ahead and hatch this and you see what's going on, because this right here is just wall material. Okay, this is the same. This area that I'm inside of, I guess maybe hatching this would be easy to do. If I go ahead and I say, okay, well this and this, there, it's the exact same surface. Okay, that is the same surface. It's just wall material right there. Okay, and so that'll make a difference. So in other words, this clips right off of here. Okay, the hip rafter goes down and it clips, and we just wind up with this missing notch. Okay, so and I can go also right back over here and make its counterpart. So again, to do that, how do I make a bird box and a fascia board? I use 8-inch fascia boards for mine, and I offset 2 inches down, and I offset 2 inches over from the inside of the corner. Okay. You don't always have to do the 2-inch down offset, but you can if you want. So that does that. I typically at this point wouldn't build a house without 8-inch corner boards, just because gutters are so big now. They end up looking quite a bit better, I think, when you have a bigger corner. So that's that. Again, this is the edge of the roof boundary, so then that goes away. And that right there can go away. And again, we have the same thing. Oops, we got one piece missing. That's really making this look goofy. Okay, so again, this is all hip right down here. If I was to hatch the roof pattern on this, it would also make a little bit more sense. But again, just remember that this right here is a fascia board, and again, if I were to hatch this, just remind yourself that this surface right here, we'll just hatch, right? This wall right here is the same as that surface right there. This is just the overhang of that wall, okay? So when you hatch it, it'll make a little bit more sense when you put some materials and things on it. If you don't like this idea of coming back with the bird boxes that are 2 inches lower, you don't have to at all. I would, like I said, I would typically then go ahead and offset all of my fascia boards the 2 inches down if it works, right? That's really what I would typically have happening, where everything does line up, but it does make it look a little bit more, pronounced and a little more interesting, I think, when you do that. Okay. Oh, and I guess that's one thing that is looking a little bit goofed up. Maybe that even helps slightly with the look right there, kind of understanding what's going on. So same thing right here. But I'll save that. I haven't decided how I'm going to texture this wall or what kind of surfaces or materials I'm going to use. So that's that. So you've got a complete full set of hip drawings and elevations, as well as, if you looked at the other videos, if hips are not your thing, you have a full gable set as well. So I should probably come back, because I still have this one thing I have not addressed. I'm supposed to have a covered front porch, which I have not put in place yet out here. So probably something I need to do now is go ahead and reestablish that front porch, which in this side would actually be a shed again. So that's it. That's hips are